Welcome back, everyone, to our educational video series for officials to help us improve on our mechanics, knowledge of the rules, and improve our officiating each week. This is week 10's video. We are into the last week now. Week 11 will be this week for North Carolina regular season. And so let's just keep that in mind, as many teams will be battling hard to maybe make playoffs and so forth. So we need to keep that in mind, but we still need to keep doing the quality work that we do on the field in officiating and managing the games. So let's get into our plays for this week of week 10. First clip, we're just going to take a look at what many of us experienced here in the eastern part of North Carolina this week in week 10, either before our game or during our game. We had a delay of maybe an hour or two until we got started. Let's get into some plays, though. The play right here demonstrates quality and great mechanics by our line judge inside our gold circle on a goal line play. So anytime the ball is spotted at the 5 or inside the 5-yard line, we want our head linesman and line judge to immediately at the snap get to the goal line to be in position to rule on whether that ball breaks the goal line or not. And this play right here just demonstrates great mechanics and how we want it to look from our officials in our games. And so as we start the play, we see our line judge in great position on the line of scrimmage. And as soon as the ball is snapped, that line judge goes immediately to the goal line. And you can see the line judge here on the goal line, on the pylon, and you can see him. He's actually 2 yards off that pylon, getting himself some cushion in case the ball comes his way for his safety, but he's in position to be able to rule on whether that ball breaks that pylon or not. And then as the play develops, we can see the player tackled around the 4-yard line, and then we see our line judge come back into the view of the camera as he has come back to where the forward progress spot is, giving the dead ball signal, because that's important for our clock operator to know when to start the play clock. And so this is just a great example of how we want our goal line and mechanics to be for our head linesman and line judge. And this is how each of us need to do it in our games so that it is quality. Let's play here. We're going to come back to signals and how important signals are. And we're going to see our line judge. You can see him barely down here in the corner. I have him inside the gold circle. But on this play, we can see the line judge. He's going to give the punch back signal, or the indication that the receiver nearest him is off the line of scrimmage. And that means that if you have a tight end there, he would be eligible. But this line judge drops that signal. And then the next thing we're going to notice is the umpire actually gives a signal pointing that direction to me that looks like he's got the tight end covered up. And we no longer have the line judge giving the signal that he's back. So this turns out to be a running play, but if this was a pass play and that tight end would have went downfield and we'd had a pass, and then we could have potentially had a flag, and then the question is would we get this call right? Would we communicate? Would the line judge say, hey, I had that player back or not? So this is why it's so important that we keep our signals, we hold our signals, and we communicate, because if we would have had a flag on this play, hopefully we would have gotten it right. Now, this play did not result in a foul as far as ineligible downfield, but keep that in mind. We got to hold those signals so we communicate, so we don't get another inaccurate signal like we do on this play. Let's play here. We're going to take a look at it live time, and then we're going to come back and slow it down, and we see a snap to the quarterback who flips it forward, and then we have an incomplete pass here as demonstrated, the referee coming up and giving an incomplete pass. So just remember, if the quarterback flips this ball forward, and we're going to have what's a forward pass. So if the receiver here does not maintain or possess or make a catch, then we would have an incomplete pass as demonstrated here, the referee doing a good job of giving that signal. So keep that in mind. This is, even though it's behind the line of scrimmage, it's just an incomplete pass. Next play here, we have teams lined up for an extra point after a touchdown. And our focus is going to actually be dead ball officiating here. And so on this play, after the play, we're going to look down here around the 3-yard line inside the gold circle. We see these two players here, and they're engaging each other. And we see the player from the darker colored team steal his towel and begin to run off the field. He grabs that towel and steals it and takes it away from him. So this is where, again, comes into dead ball and off ball officiating, how important it is. And so because the player took the towel, number one, we're going to flag that player for an unsportsmanlike act. And then the player who ran after him, we want to flag that player also for an unsporting act because we can't allow that player to chase another player around the field after the play when it's not football related. So if you observe players taking towels, we need to flag that. And again, if you observe players chasing somebody, we need to also flag that, and we need to get this caught early so that it doesn't develop into a problem later in the game. So again, let's have good off ball and dead ball officiating, and we can catch this stuff and prevent it. We have two plays here we're going to take a look at that are related to Rule 232.16d, the new rule this year, that talks about defensive players, receivers, and the defensive players having to wrap up to make a tackle. And we look at this play live time. We're going to come back to it, break it down. And on this play, we can see the two players that we're focused on inside the gold circle here. And we're going to see an incomplete pass thrown over just over the head. And then we have the defensive player come in. And we can see the defensive player follow the rules. He wraps his arms around. This is a hard hit, but he wraps his arms around. You can see the helmet, goes to the inside here. He uses his arm and shoulder to make the tackle right around the offensive player's waist, wrapping up. And like I said, it is a hard hit, but he does a good job of following the rules here. The ball just goes over the player's head, and you can see the defensive player coming in. Now, the other part here is wing officials are all officials. You can see our line judge here looking down where the ball went, but we still have two players on top of each other. So this is dead ball officiating here, and our line judge needs to have his focus where the arrow is pointing on these two players because we still could have action here. We could have dead ball action, and we see, the player that made a hit, not much, but you can see him looking down. So we want to be aware of what's going on there and be able to see that clearly and have our eyes on that. So in case anything happens, we can make a call there. And then we have a second play that demonstrates the same thing of a good job of adhering to this rule. Again, a hard hit, but a legal hit on this play that adheres to the rules. You can see the receiver and the defensive player here that are both inside the gold circle, and you can see that hit. And he wraps up. The defensive player wraps up, the offensive player, and does a good job of adhering, making this tackle underneath the guidelines of the rules on this play. You see the helmet outside, not driving the helmet in. Good job there. This play, we're going to look at whether this is legal or illegal intentional grounding. And we can see the line of scrimmage here right approximately about the 44-yard line. And this demonstrates why it's so important that our head linesman and our line judge stay on the line of scrimmage on these types of plays. So the quarterback's going to receive the snap, and then the quarterback is going to roll out towards the near hash here, get outside the hash, and we see the quarterback here inside the gold circle. Once he gets outside the hash, he's going to throw the ball forward. And so the key here is we know he's outside that free blocking zone, but the second part of this is we have to rule on whether the ball crossed the line of scrimmage or not. And that's why it's so important that our head linesman and line judge stay on the line of scrimmage on these plays. Now, it obviously looks like the ball does go beyond. We can see the line here. We see the ball inside the line. But, the referee will not be able to most likely see this. And so it's going to be the head linesman or line judge is going to have to provide this information to the referee so we sure we have a legal play here. Second play on this also focuses on the same thing. We have the quarterback here inside the gold circle. Quarterback's going to receive the snap, roll out to his right, which is the far side of the field. He's going to obviously get outside that free blocking zone, as we will see on this play, because he's clearly out to the numbers when he releases this ball downfield. And you can see by the estimated line here, he's outside. Now, the referee will have this as far as whether he's outside that free blocking zone. The second part of this, though, is when he releases the ball, he's got to get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. And that's where the head linesman and line judge come into play in their positioning. And we're going to see on this play that the ball appears to come up short of that. And the ball's right there inside the circle down on the ground. We can see the fourth down marker at the gold line. And then we can see our head linesman who's downfield, 6-7 yards downfield, be on where the ball lands. And so it's really difficult potentially if you move too far downfield to get the spot on this. So it's important that you stay on that line of scrimmage. And in this particular play, if need be, the line judge could come across, or even the umpire could come across and help out if there's uncertainty. But the important part here is that the officials, the wing officials, communicate this information back to the referee and communicate it quickly so that the referee knows whether to drop a flag or not for an illegal intentional grounding here by the quarterback. This play here involves a kickoff, and we're going to focus on the positioning of the referee on this kickoff because we're going to see the kickoff goes down towards the referee, and we'll see the referee has to do a little dance move to get out of the way of the ball almost hitting the referee. So you can see the referee here inside the gold circle. So just a little tip here, and I know sometimes we get short kickoffs and we start to move up as referees, but start out on the goal line. If this ball comes at you and you just step back into the end zone, well, the ball would break the plane of the goal line, which would be a touchback on a kickoff. But if you're in the field of play and the ball comes at you, then you run the risk of the ball hitting you. And obviously, we don't want the ball to make contact with us in the field of play if we can avoid it. So how do we avoid this in the future? Position ourselves on the goal line, move up as when it's appropriate to move up, but stay on that goal line. And then if the ball comes towards you, you just step back in the end zone, hit you. It's a touchback, dead ball anyways. Just a little tip. We get into our next play here. We're going to look at what to do, proper mechanics when we have a flag during the play. And our focus will be specifically on the line judge, which is near the bottom of the screen here. And so we have a play where the line judge right here throws a flag on this play back around the 35, but the play continues upfield. And so the line judge needs to continue moving forward with the play, marking the forward progress spot. But in this situation, we're going to see the line judge stay where he threw the flag as the play continues to develop. Now, I like the fact that the line judge comes in and stops the clock. And all our officials, when they know we have a flag, should be mirroring the stop the clock so that we get the clock stopped properly. But the line judge needs to continue to officiate the play, get the forward progress spot, then stop the clock, then communicate to the referee by if you use radios or verbally, what the line judge has for the penalty. But don't stop officiating because you throw a flag. Continue to officiate the play all the way to the end. Next play we're going to look at is great mechanics by the crew. And the only official we don't see in this play is the back judge. But as we look across the field at the chains, the down marker, we see that we have a fourth down play. So we know one of two things. Either the offense is going to get a first down and we have to stop the clock to move the chains. Or second, the offense is not going to gain a first down and we're going to have a change possession. And yet still we have a stop the clock for the change of possession. So either way, this clock is going to stop for one of those two reasons. And as we see the play happen, we're going to watch the four officials that we can see give the stop the clock signal when we know that it is short of the line to game, and see all four of them mirroring each other, stopping the clock. This is great mechanics, great job by this crew. If we saw the back judge, maybe the back judge is doing it also, but all five of them doing it would be great, and that's how we want to do it on these types of plays on fourth downs. Next play here we're going to take a look at is we have a pass out to the line judge side of the field, right around the 20-yard line. But we're going to focus on the defensive player who comes up and delivers a hit to the potential receiver who drops the ball. So we have an incomplete pass, and then we're going to focus inside that gold circle and that player right there, and you can see that hit. And it's kind of hard to see, in regular speed. But as we bring this back and we slow this down, we get a flag on this play. This is a good job here. As you take a look, you can see that defensive player is getting blocked, but watch him lower his helmet right about here. He lowers that helmet, and the top of his helmet makes contact on the receiver's helmet, and you can see the receiver's head snap back. So this is a really good job here of an official staying with the play, not focusing on the ball or something else, staying with the play all the way to the end after the play is over and getting this call correct here. You can see that defensive player lowers that helmet, hitting him in the side of the helmet there, right there. He lowers that, striking him in there. So that defensive player is responsible for that contact. Good job there. The final play this week is going to focus on the off ball or dead ball officiating. And on this play, we're going to see a great job here on a punt play by the line judge. And I spoke a lot about dead ball and off ball officiating in a lot of my videos this year. But this little mechanic right here demonstrated by the line judge on this play is just how important it is and how this little mechanic will help you officiate this. So we see a punt come down, and now we see the line judge almost get run into here, but he avoids it. But look what he does right here. Turns out to see the action in the team bench. And kudos to both the line judge and the back judge here as we're giving the stop the clock signal. Great job. But more importantly, this line judge turns out so he can see the action out in the team bench, especially when we have opposing players out there. He can see what's going on if need be, and he needs to, intervene. He can do that, drop a beanbag or remember the spot, because we can always come back to the spot, but we want to avoid any type of action in that team bench area. But he does that little turnout, and now he can see what's going on out there and observe it and be in great position. This is a great job here, great little mechanic on this type of play, on an out of bounds play by the line judge. That concludes this week's educational video series for our football officials out there of week 10. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to view this video. I hope it was helpful to you. Also, thank everyone who provides positive comments every week, those of you who hit the like button every week. And also, if you would like to share this video with another official who it may benefit, please feel free to share the video. Until our week 11 video, take care and have a great game this week. See you next time.